Welcome to Frontline Focus, the podcast where we bring you inside RevForce, sharing stories, insights, and real-life experiences of our team members who are out there making an impact every day. I'm your host, aka Tech Diva, and now in addition to our incredible operators, we're also bringing you in on the conversation with our partnered business owners, founders, the leaders, and who are out there building grit, scaling the systems, and teaming up with RevForce that makes it all happen. So today we're chatting with Jared Wigand, founder of and CEO of Run Autopilot, Colorado-based SaaS agency helping small businesses automate and scale and thrive. Jared brings over 15 years of experience in content creation, radio production, and marketing, and was once known as producer Wigginz on KS 107.5's nationally ranked morning show. He's taken his creative foundation and he's built a digital powerhouse, scaling Run Autopilot from the ground up and into a $7 million industry. We're talking about his journey, how he is spotlighting Colorado businesses through the Colorado Spotlight podcast, and how he's partnering with RevForce has changed the way agencies operate. So let's dive in. Jared, welcome to the podcast.
Right on. Hey, listen, Tech Diva, you hit everything there. So the podcast is done. You just summarized everything else and seen. So the only thing... we're done. The only thing I'd say is I'm the COO. Jake Salazar, my business partner, is the CEO. And so, yeah, I honestly don't know where to start. I'm glad that you have a name. I guess radio name is probably the old school term of putting it. But people for years called me, even in high school, middle school, as Wiggy or Wigginz now. But like very rarely is my full name used. So when I go on podcasts, and I've been on a few now, some of them don't know what to call me. Some of them call me Jay. Some of them just call me Wig. And you nailed everything. So this is the first podcast I've done in a while to where you got all topic points, first name and the nickname down. You're killing it, Tech Diva.
I love it. I love it. I actually was just talking to the team, and because obviously I have kids, your last name is one of the names of the character in the Lorax. So it's really easy for me to remember because mom brain, right? Like Lorax, it's great. So I want to talk a little bit with you. I want to know a little bit about your story. Tell us a little bit about Run Autopilot and how that all got started. And, what led into the launch of this agency for you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I left radio in 2016, and I'd been there for 12 years, man. And it's kind of hard to leave a gig where you're meeting celebrities and going backstage at concerts. But the reality was that industry just did not understand digital. So I left there and was like, hey, I'm going to start my own digital marketing agency. This was before everyone started their own digital marketing agency.
Yep.
But what I found was I lacked a front-facing kind of brand identifier, right? So I could go into names, but if you want to work with giant partners or vendors, you can't just be like, hey, I'm Jared, also known as Wigginz. I make videos. Doesn't really work like that for large vendors. Mm-hmm. And today we work with some of the number one volume dealerships in the state of Colorado. But when I went in there as just myself, my name had a little bit of reputation, but that doesn't mean that they're going to cut you a check. So I acquired a network that was doing pretty decent, and we've taken it to another level called I'm From Denver. Mm-hmm. And as I was building I'm From Denver up and I was still doing the digital marketing side of it, I realized that I was missing the fundamentals of what the radio had, right? The radio station had. So to give you an idea, like if a salesperson made a lead, they'd go to a client, hey, are you interested? Yeah, I'm interested. They get the transaction done. They would get X number of commercials. The commercials would need an identifier of what kind of commercials are they going to be, and then who's going to voice it. And then that talent would get notified about voicing it. And then they would make the commercial, and then my role as a producer would cut it up, and then I would submit it to the salesperson, and then they would get it up. I didn't have that process as a production company. I was just like, hey, I'm going to make you a video. I'm going to throw it up, blah, blah, blah. But I knew that systems matter, right? You have to have systems. So I discovered high level. Oh, man, what would that have been? That would have been 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Just because I hired a web guy and he was like, hey, use this. I'm an affiliate of this. I go, what is it? And I paid $1,000 to have Go High Level teach me, and I was overwhelmed. And I think that's important to understand because it's even more complex than it was. And I was overwhelmed, but I never left. I kept paying the subscription, the top tier subscription, because I was like, man, at some point I'll really utilize this.
Yeah.
And I kept kind of learning. And then ultimately it became a thing of, wow, like I'm watching people on YouTube with no business acumen and nothing against them because there have been some successful people. no business acumen, no media or advertising background, no real kind of understanding of just how to operate, making $30,000 or $40,000 a month. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like,
Yeah.
how? And I could see that they didn't have that. As someone with a little bit of experience, you can see when there's a rookie on the field. And so I was like, I need to transition into this. So
Yeah.
at the time, I was working with the co-founder of Under Armour, Kip Fulks, and I learned from him how to really scale a business. And it was like going to college. He was teaching a course on businesses. But for me, and we don't do it any longer, but for me, it was like going to a college or university and learning from the best of the best.
Yeah.
And through that, I was like, man, I have to scale what we're doing with high level. Run Autopilot didn't exist. I'm from Denver existed. I tried calling it Impact I'm from Denver. That became too much of a cluster. I don't want to cuss, but it became too much of a mess that I was like, hey, I can't scale this calling it Impact I'm from Denver.
Mhm.
And we went to Extendly and had them build this site out, but it became very convoluted in that people were like, wait, I don't understand. I'm from Denver is a social media platform that connects and talks to the community
Yeah.
of Denver. And you're selling a CRM platform. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea.
Winging it over here.
Just winging it. But then I met Jake, and that business relationship came one to where I didn't have to worry about the nuances of the business structure, right? Not the nuances of Run Autopilot and I'm from Denver. I had that down. But everything that comes with a business,
Yeah.
and everything that comes with it of taxes, systemization, meaning just from a structural and integrity part of, hey, we're doing this transaction, that person gets this contract, all those things that need to exist to really scale, I didn't have to worry about that any longer. It allowed me to focus on, okay, Impact I'm from Denver. And when I focused on that, I was like, I'm fucked. Sorry. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't make this work. I need a different name and I need support.
Yep.
And I need to find someone that can help me. And I need to somehow involve I'm from Denver into this. And so I just went to, and you'll probably guide me on this more, Chantel, but I went to somewhere in high level you guys are certified.
Yeah, the high level directory. Yeah.
Okay, so I went to the high level directory.
Yeah.
And it was like
It's
it is, but it's like a dating app. Let's be
Yes.
real. Okay, so I don't want to say I got catfished because high level will not like that.
Yeah.
But I did partner with an individual who was good, but that person was also, they weren't a rookie, but they weren't a vet. Like they didn't make it to the Super Bowl yet, right? Like they're lucky if they won a few games in the season, but they understood the game. And so I tried to rely on them, but I messaged a bunch of people in the dating app and I was like, hey, I like long walks on the beach and I like to go eat here. Who wants to partner with me? And that while I was working with this other individual, and it was great, but they were outsourcing to another country. And I didn't like that because I was outsourcing to another country. And I knew that doing that, people think it's a good idea in theory, but it's really not because there's a communication lapse that happens and you get a bunch of yeses. Yes, sir, I'll do that for you. No problem. And I don't want a yes, sir. I want to be able to be like, no, give me some pushback. So anyway, long story
you needed
short,
an architect. You needed somebody that's going to give you the vision, right? Not just, say they'll do it for you, but like add to the conversation for sure.
Yes, like, hey, that's a great idea to have the entrance here, but you got to have an emergency exit. It's a fire code. It's a fire code requirement, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's smart, So through that, here's what's funny is Jasmine's, what's her role with RevForce? I don't want to get her title wrong.
She is CEO, yes, of RevForce.
CEO. All right. See, I don't want to get that wrong.
No, you're fine. I got it wrong. You're allowed to. I take one for the team.
Okay. She randomly messaged me. And I think it's important to know that if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, getting into the go high level game, and those that have taken it to next level, you work all the time.
Mhm.
Like I'm not saying, oh, you get a few days off. I'm saying you work all the time. Like
24/7.
Like 24/7, you're dreaming about what you have to do the next day.
Yeah, you work in your dreams. Like you just
Yeah.
and are working in your dreams.
Yes. And you're like yelling at yourself in your dream.
You're like, why can't I get this workflow to work?
God, why isn't the boss such a jerk in my dreams? Anyway, I'm working late one night. Jasmine remembers this differently, and who knows, because I work late, and so I just have the TV on. And my company originally was, even though I'm from Denver, I formed a company called Back to the Digital. And it was based off of the movie Back to the Future, right? We've had new incarnations of the brand and what we are today, but I was watching Back to the Future, and which I hardly do. I was a fan of it. That's why I named my business after it. It wasn't like I'm a fanatic where I'm like, oh, Back to the Future's on. And whatever, Jasmine messaged me. or an automated email messaged me, whatever. But what I got from that was like, oh, they knew the system, they know the system, they responded to my request. And even though it's midnight or whatever time it was, I'm literally sitting in front of my computer and I'm like, man, I looked you guys up and I went to the dating app portal. What's it called again?
A high
What's
level, the directory. Yeah.
The directory. I went to the directory and I was like, oh wow. I was like, look at all their professional headshots. Look at their website, which is done on high level. But that brand is the same reason why people worked with me when I'd come with them, and I'm from Denver now, right?
Yeah, because it's pristine, it's clean, it looks good. Like, it doesn't look like something you Mod Podge together in a broken down shop, you know?
It's trust that you can trust it, right? Yeah. Like no one's gonna put that much effort into something and be shady. I mean, you could, but that's a lot of effort to try to be shady. Usually shady or just shady. And so that message, like, pretty much has snowballed, and her and I met, and Jasmine and I are very, very alike. In the sense of like we're just ADHD. Let's just talk.
In a room is just a hot mess express. Like, it's so great.
But we're talking about everything, and we understand what everyone's saying. But everyone around us is, whoa, what are you guys on? Like, how much coffee did you have?
You ingested in the last 24 hours.
100%. Which I just bought some. Thank you, Mike, for that. Yep. I did buy some Neuro gum. Cinnamon flavored. The mint flavor you guys had was not too good. But through that, the conversation kept snowballing, and I think because I was able to spitball everything at her of what we were trying to do. Mm-hmm. It's always been my professional or personal experience that is like, people think I'm insane, but no. It's true though. People think I'm out of my damn mind. But when I can relate to someone who can understand my vision or the goal that I'm trying to lay down, it's a relief for one, because you're like, hey, I'm not insane. But it was also, okay, help me get this to the goal line of where we need to be. And that's really what happened. Like, I said, hey, we have a problem being called Impact. We'll come up with a new name. All right, what about this? No, that's not going to work for this reason. All right, what about this? Well, that's good. All right, what about Run Autopilot? Oh, that's perfect. But when you're coming up with a name, there's so much to it. I got to find the website. I got to find the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube. Everyone's taken that name, but for whatever reason, Run Autopilot was widely available. Yeah. And I was like, okay, there's the brand, right? What you guys have with RevForce, that's why I was like, that's what we will identify around this, Run Autopilot. It's separated from I'm from Denver. Yep. And we have Run Autopilot. So that's how it came to be. And for the last year plus has been working with RevForce to identify and really get it to this point of almost a full scale launch. Do we have clients in the system? Yes. But anyone out there, you do not turn the switch on and open the floodgates. You need a trickle effect, right? Because you need to know what's working and what's not. And that's where we were. In the meantime, got to learn more about you. I got to learn more about RevForce. You got to see how our team operates. You got to learn a little bit of I'm from Denver. And now we're at this final stage of, hey, let's do a podcast and talk about where you're at, because we are at this point of, hey, we're ready to launch. And I don't want to go too far into, and I think we will, of where we're at now and how we mix I'm from Denver into this. But we did find a way of cultivating the I'm from Denver network, which reaches 700,000 followers and reaches tens of millions of people. Yeah. We're cultivating that audience and changing our process there to make Run Autopilot a success. But again, I can't state enough that it would not happen without RevForce, in the sense of, I just had a vision. I knew how this tool could work, but it's almost like saying, I like to drive and I bought this car. Well, cool, right on. Do you know how to change the oil in that? Or do you know how to change the digital interface on that? I know how it works. You guys came in and you were the mechanics. You were the techies behind the scene that really allowed us to do what we needed to do and get it to where it is today.
Yeah. And
there's a long rambling answer for you.
You know what? I love it, because there's so much good just that you can just encompass in everything that you just said. Especially, I liked how you said, this has been a year. A lot of agencies, I think they come into this being like, this is an easy project, right? Like a couple of months. It's like, no, you want an entire infrastructure built out and architected out. This is going to take a minute, especially if you're only working with one or two operators. It's going to take a minute. Now, if you have a team behind you, that gets expedited, right? That goes a little bit faster. But I think that's a really good point that you made. Like, this has taken a while, but we're here. We're doing it, getting ready.
Oh, you got to have a team, man. You think that you're going to get into this, and you can, right? There's a certification process, and I think it's amazing what RevForce does to create certified experts. Like, that to me is very intriguing for an array of reasons. But You have to get certified. Well, certification takes a while. You have to know how business runs. That takes a while. You have to know how to do digital ad campaigns. That takes a while. And I haven't even told you that you need to learn Go High Level, right? That takes more than a while.
Yeah.
And so you have to rely on, man, I hate the quote, but I love the quote. It's like, you're not the smartest person in the room. And Steve Jobs said that there's other people in that room that you have to rely on.
Yeah. We always say, like, you can't be the tech and the talent. Like, you need to choose one or the other if you're going to run your business appropriately.
Yeah, because otherwise, what do you got? You think you're working a lot as a techie? All right, cool. You think you're working a lot as a talent? All right, cool. You doing both? You're not sleeping. You're not sleeping. And then you're dropping the ball somewhere.
Yep. The candle can't be burning at both ends. That's for sure. So, like, transitioning a little bit, right? Because you've got your agency, you're launching it. When you guys are thinking about it, the ideal customer, right? Like, what makes Run Autopilot the go-to agency for helping the ideal customer grow?
It's very interesting. I want to give a short answer to this, and then I'll give more of the long-formed answer, as I tend to do. We're the ideal agency because the background of radio and advertising and marketing allows me to understand who your target demographic is as a business or a brand. It allows me to understand how you can market on digital platforms to appeal to that clientele, that niche, right? Like, I understand that. If you don't have the second part of that, which is, and this is where radio failed and still to this day does not do a good job of that, what happens if someone clicks on that ad?
Yeah.
Okay, they go to your website. Honest to God, this is how most people set this up.
Yeah.
Oh, they want to go to my website. Okay, what happens then? They buy my product. No, they're searching around trying to find whatever it was that you were pitching them, and they can't find it in 3 seconds. And something else is on their feed, or their kids or dogs barking or whatever's happening. They're out. They're done.
Yep.
Where we become a full-scale agency and what makes Run Autopilot have the ability to handle massive businesses of all sizes, small, big, and large, is we understand what your goal is on a digital marketing front. And then now with Run Autopilot, we have the tools to ensure that you're communicating or giving that message, that secondary message in the correct spot to that customer.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's where High Level and Run Autopilot comes in.
Absolutely. And not to cut you off in there, because I kind of feel like you were kind of going towards this. So I just kind of want to hone in on a little bit. That when you like talk about tools, right? So one of the tools that is a big part of your company, because you've built your company off of it, is the High Level platform, right? The High Level software is where you have chosen to create your entire company agency from. So what made you choose them, and why do you trust them to deliver what they deliver for your clients?
I think it's funny because it's the same thing with Slack, ClickUp, Trello. There's so many variety of tools out there. Price is a factor, right? Being a public company is a factor, right? Like you could have Salesforce. They're not going to they don't care about you as a consumer. They care about the people that are invested in the company, right? They care about how their stock's performing. High Level really sets itself aside to where they care about your success as an affiliate and as a consumer, right? As just as individual using that brand, right?
Yeah.
But they care about you as an affiliate because if you're a success for your businesses, then they're a success as a platform.
Correct.
And so that makes the draw into into a High Level. That's what drew me in, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. But that said, if it wasn't for a RevForce that partners with High Level and is certified from High Level, there's a chance it could feel like Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
But the resources were there that they gave you guys the knowledge. They gave you the ability to certify yourself to where I have you as a resource now as just a High Level consumer, an agency that I can still scale without having to go to High Level and be like, can you help me? And then wait 3 or 4 days. I can literally just talk to you and get a response.
Yeah, they kind of solve the problem on both ends, right? You have this company, but you can't take on all of these employees that you train in to be these operators, right? That are your fulfillment team. But what you can do is you can empower an agency to become certified admins, become operators, and be that fulfillment for you. And now your customers, all of your agencies have options. They have a way to actually pick who they want based off of how do you guys mesh. Like you said, you and Jasmine hit it right off. because you tried somebody else and they weren't kind of your cup of tea. And then you're able to go, okay, well, we're going to transfer to these operators and they're right up our alley and exactly what we're looking for. So, the first person you went with might have been somebody else's cup of tea, but it's so great that there's different personalities, different ways of becoming an operator, in a sense of like, you get to bring your own brand and your own personality to your company and as an operator and to service other agencies. That's great too.
Well,
So they do have
and
a
yeah,
variety.
no, and to that point is like I'm from Denver gave us notoriety. My reputation gave us notoriety. Jake's reputation gave us notoriety. I can't give half-ass results.
Mm-hmm.
If I give half-ass results, man, it could damage my reputation, and it does. And there's no way of scaling and growing at all. Like
Yeah.
that's just what happens. So working with you guys gave us that ability to. It is the same thing with Jake. You handle that side, I'll handle this side. And same thing with RevForce. You handle that side, I'll handle this side, and it'll allow us to get to where we're at now. But come on, let's be real. The beauty is, the problem with social media is everyone puts on a filter and thinks everything's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's the same way as business. Someone will turn on this podcast and man, everything's great. All you gotta do is this. You can scale your business. Here's the thing. I hate becoming a podcast mic in the front of the face. I'm gonna tell you how good Run Autopilot is. I made a few of those promos. I hate it because everyone does that. And the truth is, it sucks. Things go wrong and they will go wrong. And you have to be ready for them to go wrong and solve them and make a solution for it. We were having issues. We set up a great tool. It was a networking event. If someone's at a networking event, they scan this QR code, they give us their information. And then after that, it was like, hey, this person reaches out to them, they close the deal, this is how it's happening. There was a step missing there. We didn't get a notification there. There was something that happened that we then revisited and we're like, oh shoot, something's wrong here. But you can't be reactionary and go up and be like, oh, that's RevForce's fault, or oh, that's Jake's fault, or oh, that's Wigginz' fault. You have to be like, okay, what's the problem here?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure that this boat, it doesn't have a little leak in it and get it back on the water? And you will always run into those problems. It doesn't matter how badass you think you are. You always run into those problems, but you have to have the team to come together that I can go up to Mike, Jasmine, or Chantel, or get in a ClickUp and say, hey, I don't know what's happening here. What's going on? Oh, we're going to run an audit of that. Cool. Here, we ran an audit of it. This is what's wrong. Okay, how do we fix it? All right, this. You have to approach problems with how can we solve it rather than anger and frustration or blaming anyone, because you will always run into the problem. And I say that because you're building something within high level. Are we Run Autopilot? Yes. Are we on high level? Yes. Are we working with you guys? Yes. But that means we're all building. Someone's got a hammer on this side. Someone's got a screwdriver over here. Someone's doing the electrical. If we're not all talking, something's going to go wrong. And it will always go wrong. And you just have to be ready to solve those problems, because your problem becomes a problem for whoever's in your sub account.
Absolutely. And so like, as I'm listening to you and like just in the couple of questions we've covered, I feel this theme with you really care about the delivery of your product. You care about the delivery of just what it encompasses. And then because you care about your clients, right? You care about their satisfactory. You can't afford to screw up. That's what like you said, like we have to be on top of it. And so because I feel like you have such a heart for all of this, it also makes me think about like you are the voice behind Colorado's Spotlight podcast. And so tell us a little bit about that, because I want people to really understand your heart behind what you're doing there in Colorado along with this company.
So this is great, and this is all recent. I've always prided myself on having my finger on the pulse of what's trending. Problem is, I'm too ahead of the curve. And I don't say that in an ego way. I'm just saying that, man, I was doing podcasts in 2015 where people would literally ask, what's a podcast? And had a 6-figure contract leaving the radio station thinking I was awesome doing a podcast and all this other stuff. And it flopped, man. It didn't work. It didn't succeed. The deal blew up. I failed at my first business venture. I was like, oh my God, what happened here? This is the same thing where then podcasts blew up and they became what they became. And I was like, oh, I was on the right path. But whatever, man, lesson learned. What that taught me to prepare me for now, for I'm from Denver, is what we were doing. And the page has been around for 14 years now, 2012. It started. I've been a part of it for 9 years now, or I guess it'd be a little bit less than that. But regardless, what happened is everyone jumped on the bandwagon. I was ahead of the curve and knew funny memes, trending topics. I did the radio shtick in that space, and it worked. And we got followers, and we hit millions. But now I'm seeing everyone do that, and everyone's learning. It's funny. 4 years ago, no one wanted to be on camera. Now everyone's asking why aren't they on camera, which is great for business as a production company.
Mhm.
But to that point with I'm from Denver and everyone being in this space and they're doing sensational news and they're just talking about a high speed chase that happened on I-25 and a car accident that just happened and someone robbed a bank and everyone's using the same CCTV footage and
Well,
you're seeing everyone's doing the same stuff. I was like, we have to be different. And
mhm,
not only do we have to be different, we have to make this work with Run Autopilot.
mhm.
That's problem. Everyone's being like us.
Yep.
Problem, we have a network that reaches millions and we don't know how to, and we have a platform that we're selling with Run Autopilot.
Mhm.
They don't communicate. They don't talk. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Could I get mad? Could I get frustrated? Could I blame it on we're not posting the right social media content? Could I blame it on, hey, it doesn't matter, Run Autopilot's separate. It doesn't, we should be able to still sell that? Yeah, for sure. But I have to find a way to find a solution. So the
Yeah.
solution now that we're focused on, and we just launched it this week, is, and we launched it a few weeks back and got a bunch of people on my personal profile that submitted, hey, we want to feature you on I'm from Denver as a Colorado spotlight. So
Mhm.
Seth and the RevForce team worked with me and we built an automated process where people can go to spotlight.imfromdenver.com and they can fill out a form. That's a go high level Run Autopilot form.
Mhm.
They put in their entry, tell me all about your business, name, phone number, why did you do this? How are you socially active in the community? Where's your business thrive? Where's it struggle? Who's your consumer? I'm asking all these questions. The chat GPT inside of Run Autopilot and High Level
Yes.
makes them a blog that is then sent out to them via email.
That is
They
ama
can either approve it or edit it. But guess what we get, Chantel? We get all the information about that business
data.
or brand.
Yep.
Yes, we don't just get their name, email, phone number. We're learning all about their business. We
Yeah.
learned about their struggles. We learned about what makes them great. Okay, cool. That's internally something good. What do they get? Because everyone wants something and everyone deserves something. They
Yes.
get a blog that they approve that gets featured on a website that gets tens of thousands of hits each month and
Mhm.
on a social media network that reaches millions each month.
That is amazing.
That's what we give. That's what we give to them.
That is
And then
value. Like, what else
value.
what other sources are you gonna have where you're spotlighted like that? Like, it's free publicity, like, why not take an opportunity like that?
And on my personal profile, and we're working out the kinks internally. Again, it's having that little leak in the hard stuff. The frame of the house that you guys built works.
Mhm.
Now we have to decorate the inside of the house, and we have to make sure that the chairs are where the chairs need to be, and the walls painted the color it needs to be. So we need to make sure. All right, what's our release pattern? How often are we doing the spotlight? How do we promote these? And then what happens next is when we find there's stories, businesses of all sizes, which is great, right? We had this small business as a project management company. We highlighted them with a blog, but then we got Mercedes-Benz of Westminster that hit us up. All
Yeah.
right, well, that's not really an individual company, a little bit harder, a larger of a brand. Who's in between that? Who's in between the project management company and Mercedes-Benz? Mission Yogurt. Mission Yogurt was a mom and son company. They started it together. We did a story on them. You know what they deserve? They're not that small as a project management company. Nothing against being that small, but our audience won't really gravitate to that. And they're not Mercedes-Benz to where, let's face it, someone's like, oh, rich Benz, whatever.
Yeah, I just
Oh
wanna throw
man,
all my money there, yeah.
yeah, it's oh man, Mission Yogurt. I've eaten there. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was ran by a son and a mom. Oh man, the mom passed away. Oh, the guy who runs it became a paraplegic, but still kept running his company. How did he do that? That story then becomes a reel. And then
Yeah.
that reel becomes, hey, do you want to come on our podcast?
Yeah.
And I can't announce who's going to be hosting our podcast, but we have a potential former Bronco that we're working out the final agreement terms on that. But we'll be
That'll be
hosting their
great.
podcast and talking to them. So now, not only do you get promotion on I'm from Denver with a blog, and maybe we
Mhm.
do a reel for you, but you could sit down with a member with a podcast host that you watched for years play for the Broncos that you're just a fan of, and you get to go sit down and do a podcast with them.
Yeah,
And
how cool is
he
that?
cares. And he cares about the community too. And I don't want to give too much away because it's going to show it is. He's so
Right, I know.
actively involved in the community
Yeah.
that now we get to do that. Now here's where the Run Autopilot and High Level comes into play, and you guys as well, because of this infrastructure and these steps that take place after this. Now they're in our ecosystem.
Mm.
We have their name, their email. We know about their business. We can identify what they could use from tools. If it's the AI Emma chat widget, if it's a phone call, we can identify it. And then we create a system of automations that can then target them specifically and give them a service that they need because we know more about their service.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole, how the problem is we have I'm from Denver, we have Run Autopilot. How do we make them talk? Boom, that's how we make them talk. So the whole transition,
awesome.
to sum it up, of I'm from Denver is we're not going to be memes, and we started it this week. We're not memes, we're not funny, we're not sensational news. We'll have that here and there. We are the history of Colorado and a Colorado spotlight on the brands, businesses, entrepreneurs, and the people that make this great.
Yeah.
And that's where we're bringing it all together. And for me, my business partner, Jake, who is the chairman for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, to give to that community on that level, Run Autopilot will just be a bonus.
Yeah.
Because we get to actually make a difference and showcase the people that make this great. They trust us, as they should. And now we become a resource for them so that they can scale and become a better business.
That is amazing. I love that, Jared, because RevForce is very community-based too. So like our hearts align in that area of like, we want to give back to our community. We want to be able to support them in ways that they're not getting anywhere else. You're not going to find it anywhere else. So why not go and support an agency that's going to help push your company forward? You can't win unless they win. That's the best.
Well, and this part, again, always forward thinking on this. And I talked to the potential podcast host, and I should say potential, but it's stronger than that. We've already done a podcast with him, but he's very focused on the youth. And I know that RevForce is very focused on empowering and showing people how they can create their own business, get certified on that. I talked to Mike and I talked to Jasmine, and I was like, hey, man, the truth is, once we get this system going with Colorado Spotlight, the focus really needs to be on how we can help the youth in 2025 leave high school. And maybe they don't want to become a plumber. Maybe they don't want to go to college. We can give them the tools to succeed as an entrepreneur. Give them the lessons they need to become a successful business. And then you give them the education on how to run the tools of that business. And that's where I think this partnership, and everything happens for a reason. That's why I'm excited for this next step of that partnership. And we're not there yet, but that's
super close though. It's getting ready to launch soon. So because we're talking about RevForce a little bit, and because I love to talk about us, since partnering with RevForce and partnering with an operator, what challenges in your business did you have, and how did your systems grow from having somebody implemented for you?
Oh man, the problems. It was, Jake handles that side of the business that you need to handle. I handle the technology side, but I also have to handle the production side because that is our business. We do video production for some of the largest brands in the state of Colorado. I also handle I don't post myself, but I'm responsible for the content that's being distributed on the I'm from Denver network. So the problem was making Run Autopilot, at the time Impact I'm from Denver, succeed while we all ran in these opposite lanes.
Okay.
And that's where the operator came in, was, hey, I'm not going to not put the time and effort that needs to go into this, but I also don't have the bandwidth to identify the things that I need to focus on. And if your operator can give me hey, do this so I can do this, I will execute that. But if I'm responsible for everything, learning mapping it out, getting all that together, it will not work because I don't even know how to run a test on that. I can't tell you. Do I know the platform? Yeah, man. I would say I've always been a C- student. Thank you. I probably could have been in high school. I was good. It's college I blame, but I would say I was a C- student when it was just me, right? Like I was just trying to get it done. Now I'm getting at least a B+, A- average because I have an operator there. And that's honestly the truth of where we're at. If there wasn't that there, the scalability, the infrastructure, where we're at with a 1-year launch, if I would have had the bandwidth to make it work as a solo individual in that space, 5 years, 4 years. That's just the truth. That's just the truth.
And, pulling off of that a little bit too. So if you could give one piece of advice to another agency, somebody that's, a year behind you, what would you give them for advice upon looking into scaling their systems, or what support they might need?
Oh man, you'll hear it all the time. It's a niche. And I think you said that earlier and I didn't jump into that about who that was, but I would like to hit on that. But identify your niche. My problem with I'm from Denver is, and our business is, we appeal to all different types of businesses. You can't do that when you're getting into this space. You
Yeah.
have to have a niche because that niche will be your foundation for steady revenue. My business is different. I can have a steady revenue because we're doing production and we have this production company on the other side of it, but that also takes our eye off the prize.
Yeah.
You have to have that niche so that you can find all the leaks in the boat that's taking care of those HVAC clients, that's taking
Yeah.
care of that dentist, that's taking care of that doctor's office, that's taking care of that realtor. You have to just focus on that because that will be how you can fix everything. And then you can replicate it for the next person and the next person and the next person. And then you can go back to it and be like, hey, we killed it for this realtor and we did this. We can do it for you too. Then they'll come back and they'll have different ideas. Cool, we can do that. It's going to cost you extra money, or we can reach out to our operator and see how that could be done. But you have to find that niche.
Yeah.
Our niche with you guys, it's hard because we just meet so many different types of businesses. And I think we are able to handle them all. We haven't dialed in that niche, which I think is a problem. But our niche that we've been really focused on is the people that are just like I'm from Denver, content creators. It is because the fact of the matter is this: content creators don't generate the money that you think that they're generating.
Yeah.
They just do not. Man, if you look at a content creator, and everyone sees that Mercedes Benz or that nice car and they're driving around a beat up Toyota and they're like, man, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Man, that's different. You can't want what they have because you don't know how much debt that person's in. You don't know the reality of how they got that car.
Social media is so shined up. It's so
It is. No one is making that money that you think that OnlyFans person is making a lot of money for sure. But I could show you 300,000 others that aren't making that money. You think that person on TikTok's making all that money? They're making good money, but really, if they're a TikTok person, they're selling their own product. They're selling their merch. That's how they're generating revenue from TikTok, but they're not. If you think someone's walking around making $300,000 off of TikTok, you're out of your mind. But where Run Autopilot comes into play and who our niche is and why it's important to have a niche is content creators. And I've already been putting my feelers out there. And I asked on my personal profile, I said, who's a content creator but has a full-time job? I learned that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content creators that have full-time jobs. Yeah. What if we can get you certified with RevForce? What if we can get you certified to run your own platform and you can scale what you're doing as a content creator and turn it into a legit business?
Yeah.
That's our niche. So
multiple
my advice is
streams of
find
revenue.
a niche.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. I agree with that totally. So because you've given us a little information on that, how can people connect with you? Like, how can they find you, learn more about Run Autopilot? Where are they going for that?
RunAutoPilot.io. We are in the process, part of that Colorado Spotlight feature and everything on there is creating the social media for @RunAutoPilot. So we're not crushing it on that space, which is, I'm embarrassed to say, because as a marketing agency, it's like, hey, you should focus on that. But we're not. We're really focusing on building the shop up before we promote everyone with a billboard. But RunAutoPilot.io, you can follow us @RunAutoPilot. Again, it's so important for any business out there to have synchronicity in however you brand yourself.
Yeah.
Do not brand yourself like, hey, I'm XYZ agency, and then you're @X_Y agency on YouTube, and then you're @_. Like, you have to find a brand identity that's easy to find. So that's why when you ask that, RunAutoPilot.io or @RunAutoPilot.
That's so good. This was such a good chat, Jared. I'm so excited that you came on. You know, you do hold a special place in the RevForce team's heart. We've been dealing with you for over a year, and we're really excited to have you
dealing
on
with
the
me.
team.
I like how you said that. Hold on, you said dealing with me. That shit
Dealing.
is
Wait, it is that for everyone. We have to deal with all the craziness that comes along with being a RevForce operator. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Mike just has to deal with me and Jasmine. That's it.
Oh, trust me. I can't wait to start writing a memoir of all of our little escapades we have or stories we have from working with you. It's wonderful.
Oh man, you know what?
We love you.
I love you guys, and at the end of the day, we're gonna make this work. And what I like is I like being challenged, and I implore anyone that's watching this, if you're trying to be like, hey, who can I help scale my company? Let's say you're killing it to a certain extent, and you're like, how can I take it to the next level? You have to go with RevForce few people, and we joked about it, Chantel, about how Jasmine are ADHD in our conversation. But
Okay.
I'm challenged by you guys on a technological kind of platform. Like, I'm challenged by you guys to think outside the box, which not many people have been able to challenge me on.
Yeah.
And that's not an ego statement. I just mean that in the sense of I feel confident in the direction that I'm headed, that when I'm able to get pushed back and say, have you thought about this, or that won't work because of this, but if you change it a little bit, this is what we suggest. There's nothing better than to have someone question your ideas and improve upon it. There's a
Mhm.
difference between coming to your idea and squashing it and telling you that
Yeah.
you're the dumbest person alive, and someone that comes to you and be like, that's cool, but have you thought about this? And I
Yes.
think that's what anyone who's looking for a resource to take their business and RevForce, or excuse me, go high level to the next level, no pun intended, you guys should use RevForce and check them out, because it goes beyond anything you'll find. And I was searching for years. I had it for 5 years, high level. I tried doing it myself. I tried going to high level experts that were actually within high level company. I tried hiring out internationally. I tried another company where they would just hire out internationally. I just talked to a point person in the States. I tried actually hiring a point person in the state. I've gone through the dating app of people and got catfished
Yeah.
so many times that once I found you guys, I was like, we're getting married. All right. So
You did
I
say that. You literally did say that. You're first let's do this.
let's do this, man. And hopefully there'll be a day where we're all going on a honeymoon together because of our success. So
I'm
I
excited
appreciate you
about
just
it.
having me on.
Thank you so much for coming on. So, guys, that's a wrap for this episode of Frontline Focus. We hope you enjoyed getting to know Jared and exploring who he is and what his agency is doing for businesses for the better. If you're looking to develop an indispensable digital skill and step into a high-demand career, we ask you to consider joining RevForce Academy and becoming a part of a team that redefines digital operations. Remember, at RevForce, your milestone is our mission. We'll see you on the front lines.
And if you watch this for 45 minutes, in Chantel's words, thanks for dealing with me.
Love it.